So what we're going to do is we're going to be creating a really soft variation of a mullet. It's going to come all laid on top and soft through the front. It's going to then come soft over the face but gaining in length towards the back and some nice long layers in the back. This is a really cool, fun, quick and easy haircut to do in your salon. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a section on the top, and the reason I'm doing this is it's going to give me that original length I need. It's going to give me the length in the front and in the back, and it's also the shortest part of the haircut, so you get the scary bit out the way. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know if you have any questions. We always love to hear from you as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this first section. So remember, this is a soft haircut. We're doing a laid haircut. We want the top to be cut nice and square through the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the widest point of the head. So if we imagine the head's curved, if we want to create a flat surface, we need to make sure that that widest point is very flat, and as it goes further, it gets longer. So we're going to start with that nice shortest point, because this shortest point is going to dictate the rest of the haircut. What I mean by that is the length I do here in the back is going to give me the length I want to see in the front. So it's really important we get that right.
We've got some highs from California, from the Philippines, from New England.
You're amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks so much guys for tuning in. Keep letting us know where you're tuning in from. So good to be back. We've been doing hair brain lives for about 3 years, but we took a really nice break, well-deserved break for us and the whole team. Cool. So what we're doing is we're continuing this nice square line all the way towards the front, therefore defining the internal lengths and the outline lengths, both in the front, but then the weight in the back. So you can see I've kind of maintained the length that I've created in the front, and now we're just going to work our way towards the back again and start to incorporate that new hair towards the back. Remember guys, if you have any questions, let us know.
So what's been happening with Slate?
So Slate has been on some exciting journeys. We've literally just come back from South Africa. I'll tell you all about that in a second. But for now, I'm just going to explain to you. So it looks like a really cool pump Mohican we've got here, rock on. But what we've got is our first section going through the haircut. So that first section is what's defining our lengths for us, both the length at the front and the weight we have towards the back and that shortest point. So I'm really happy with that. It's short but not too short. We've still got a bit of texture, but remember that's the shortest point. I keep saying that because it's going to be really important for us moving forward that we have more length coming in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that we've got this section here, which is basically just a nice little square, right? So we can see we've just got this nice, if you pop your head down a bit, we've just got this nice little box through the top. And what we've created is we've done that first section. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use that as a guideline to create the squareness from left to right as well. So we've done that vertical. Now we're going to work across horizontally and just create that squareness. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to be working horizontally now, but I'm going to use that center as a guide. So that center as a guide is going to really help me. So if we pick this up, what we can see is you can see in the middle, and I'm just finding it for you. Can you see in the middle we have that guideline already? So that middle section is our guideline now working through for the rest of this. So providing we don't cut that middle bit, we know that we're nice and clean.
Beautiful. John has asked, is this like a modern mullet?
It is very much like a modern mullet, and good for you to know that. So a lot of the times, whenever you create a square shape, most of the times, especially if it's square throughout the whole haircut, you're going to end up with a mullet. The reason is, it's all about the hairlines. So if we imagine, if we create something square here, and we come across square, if we look at the hairline, it's got less hair here, it's got more hair here. So as we work our way down, the hair stops here and it keeps going towards the back. And we all know Shorter in the front, longer in the back, gives us that mullet vibe. So it's all about following the hairlines and basically letting them do the work for us at this point. So yeah, really good. Nice of you to pick that one up. I'm sure you guys are doing a lot of mullets these days. Let us know if mullets are in fashion where you are right now. Has it spread around the world yet? Is it in the Philippines? Is it in California?
Got some people from South Africa watching too.
Amazing. So I was just about to talk about where I was, and I've just come back from SCAR in South Africa. We did a really cool, we did one course in Johannesburg, we did another 2-day course in Cape Town, and a look and learn there with the guys at SCAR. Big love to the SCAR family. I love them so much. It was so great to spend time with them. It's my second time teaching at SCAR, and yeah, after the pandemic, it was the first big international job we've had outside of Europe, so it was really nice to go super far and see such good friends and family. So big shout out to everyone at SCAR for hosting us. Cool. So what we're doing now is we're continuing this squareness, and we're pulling it back, and we're just connecting it to the center. Now remember, whatever you think you're doing here, just remember that the center is correct. So if you pull the hair up and you see the hair in the middle, that is your guideline. So providing you can see short hair, that's your guideline. So you're literally connecting it to that short hair. And that's all you're looking for, is just all the way from the one side to the other, all the way across, we have a nice squareness. So what we've done now is we've worked through one side. So just a quick recap for those of you joining. I'm Michael Pizzolidis from Slate Hair Education. We have the beautiful Neve, we have the beautiful Roman behind the camera. So what we're doing is we've done a nice square layer in the middle, nice and flat, just in that middle section. We then came across horizontally, and we've only worked the one side. We worked from the widest point of the head, over directing back slightly to save length in the front, creating a nice squareness. From the widest point at the, again, we worked our way from the back, over directing slightly forward. Again, just to maintain that cutting line of squareness all the way through, and squareness horizontally. So now what we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We flip the hair over, again, just so we know that we're not losing our corners here, our parting, and we're working through.
We have another question, Michael, which is isolating the side to keep it square.
Yeah, so basically the whole point of isolating the sides is actually also choosing a little bit what you want to show in the face shape. So even though it sounds a little bit confusing, the fact is that where you place the corners will change a lot of things within the haircut. So in this case, what I like to think about is the face shape. So the higher we lift these corners up, the more we're going to be slimming the sides and lengthening the face. The lower we place them, the more we're going to be widening the sides and shortening the face shape. So really, where you place your corners gives you the control of the haircut and how the person looks. So if they have a very skinny face and slim face, you want to basically go lower to widen them out. If they have a bit of a wide face, you want to go higher to slim them. So where you place the corners are actually super important.
Just like personalization, really.
Exactly. Because really with hairdressing, what we're trying to do ideally is make the person look good, I guess, right? I mean, that would be one of the main goals of it. And then what we do is where we place things will either make the bone structure or the face shape stick out more or less. So everything you do is either making them look slimmer or wider at this point. And where you place your corners on this type of a haircut is one of those really important ones. So the same thing that happens from the side also happens from the back. So where we place these corners in the back will also dictate that. But what I'll do is I'll explain that more when we get to the back sections. So the reason why I've taken these sections out now is to really mark myself where I want it to be on the head shape. Do I want to be lower to widen the face? Do I want to be higher to slim the face? And therefore I have my guideline from this hair. So this is correct now, working across. Cool. So we've finished the top. Oh yeah, let us know if that's answered your question as well. If you're happy with it, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. By the way guys, don't forget to like and share. Thanks for tuning in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work our way through the rest of the haircut. So we've just finished the top. We've worked through and created something nice and square from left to right and nice and square from front to back. Now we're going to be working on the side area. So you can see here I've isolated the side. So now we have another nice little box here which comes from the top of the temple to the back. And this is what we consider our side now. We're going to be connecting from the length on top to whatever length we want to see in the outline. Now, if I have my angle here more flat, I'm going shorter. I could even graduate it, but we don't want to graduate it. So the flatter it is, the shorter it is. The longer I go away from the head, the longer the ends get. So depending on what length I want to see here, depends on the angle I'm going to create. Okay. Now, the only thing here is what I want it to be shorter in the front, but I actually want it to be a little bit longer in the back. So what I'm going to do is each time I cut, I'm going to be slightly elevating a little bit more in order to create something that goes a little bit longer. Now that's quite extreme, I'm not going to do that, but just for you to understand better, each time I'm going to be lifting it up ever so slightly to create slightly shorter in the front, slightly longer in the back.
Beautiful.
Cool. So yeah guys, let us know where you're tuning in from again. We're really happy to be back. It's really exciting to be here with you at Slade Hair Education. We've got our academy in the beautiful Soho in the heart of central London, about a 1-minute walk away from Oxford Circus.
Michael, we've got a few questions on the face shapes
Cool.
You know, round face shape, diamond face shape, when creating a mullet. What are your recommendations around that?
So really for me, I think these haircuts are great because they can really change depending on what you think suits the person. So I would say a lot of the time as well, rather than getting too complicated into the is it square, is it diamond, is it this, is it that, look at your client and decide what you want to see on them. So if I pull this hair away, I mean, you look great, right? But I can also pull the hair in and say, does that look better with more hair over it? For me, not really. Slightly more open kind of defines a bit more some of the features. Slightly shorter opens it up. And that's already telling me the kind of lengths that I'm going for. And again, I think from those things that we said originally, if they have a more rounded face, you want to go higher because you really want to slim the sides more. And so someone with the diamond, maybe that point, you might want to slim the sides around the cheekbones because they're quite pronounced. But I think hair cutting is a very lucky thing because what we do is very visual. So I think just by looking at it, you should be able to decide before you start what you want to see. And so kind of deciding those lengths will allow you greater control. So I hope that answered your question. So I would say first thing is looking at where you place the corners, higher, slimmer, lower, wider, and then the lengths you want to leave, look at the face shape and move the hair around and just see for yourself where things placed and what you think looks better on them, longer or shorter. Okay, so just to come back to the haircut so you don't miss this bit, what I've done is I've taken pretty much a 1 millimeter section, which is our guideline. So that's from the top, but we've now dropped it down to be our guideline. So now when I bring the hair in, it should be very clear for me what is a new section and what is old. Cool. So coming over, if we lift the hair up, so you can see that original guide there, the new guide, and then the rest of the hair. And we have to decide the length. So I'm going quite high up now because it's safer, but I might keep this or I might go shorter. But I'm gonna then again say what I said before, visually start looking at it and seeing, do we like this length or not? Cool. So I'm gonna go slightly shorter, but only slightly. So that just means my angle comes in a little bit flatter.
We have another question. Do you prefer cutting the perimeter after finding your internal lengths?
Yeah, so but normally for these haircuts, I actually don't cut the perimeter because it's as soft as haircut can be. Therefore, what I'm doing is by cutting internally, I am creating the outlines. And so I've got my guideline here. So you can see I'm not cutting my guideline, and then I'm going in and I'm starting to cut. And as I work my way down, what I'm doing is I'm actually creating the outline length. So if you see, the hair that I'm bringing in now is going down, and as it goes down, this is already the length that I'm getting. And if I want to soften it, I can, because I can cut into it. But what I find is because I've layered all the way down, there is no line at the moment. It's just a layer all the way down. And so it's soft enough for me. So I probably wouldn't have to cut into it. But what you'll find is if you cut hair from the bottom up, you're making it much heavier. If you cut from the top down, you're making it softer. If I cut a line in first, it would be very hard to create a layer that I want to see. It would be very hard to create the softness that you want to see from working from a line technique into your layering. So it's just, you know, knowing that those kind of, what's the right word? Nuances, the kind of tendencies, let's say, that you have are very important to know that when you work from the internal first, you're going to create softness, and when you work from a line first, you're going to create heaviness. So just knowing those things are going to allow you to create the type of things that you want to see. I hope that makes sense, guys. Let us know if I'm talking sense to you. Cool, that's a resounding yes. Good, good, good. So what we're doing is we're just continuing, and I'm slowly lifting up the angle to create more length in the outline each time. Okay, so again, this is my last section. I'm pushing it forwards. I'm looking at the guideline, which is the last piece of hair cut from the original layer on top. I'm pushing the hair forwards slightly in order to maintain more length, but my angle is also increasing. So we can see here why we would consider this to be more of a mullet feeling is because the hair is getting longer as it goes towards the back.
People are really liking it.
Amazing.
Getting lots of compliments here.
Good, we like that. Yeah, I think this is such a quick, beautiful, easy haircut to do in the salon. It looks good on a lot of people. From changing the corners, you can really make it work. That last little bit of personalization will change everything. Yeah. But this is great. So we've got that nice length. And if you've missed it, don't worry. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. If you want, you can just turn slightly for me. Great, thank you. So we've got the same thing on the other side. For those of you that are just tuning in, I'm Michael Pizzolides from Slate Hair Education. We're just doing a very modern mullet feeling for you today. What we've done is we've cut the top nice and square from front to back and from left to right. So we started with that lovely little box on the top. We've cut it square. We've then worked the other side the same as we're about to work this side, which is we have again one of these nice square sections. So we end up with 4, 1, 2, 3 on the other side and 4 in the back. And from this, we're going to be working a layered technique. So we're going to take the top as a guide, and we're going to use that across the head. Okay, so you've already seen it on one side. Time to show you again the same thing on the other side. First thing we do is take a little millimeter from the top as a guideline. So we move the hair away that we've already cut apart from that little millimeter, which now becomes our guideline. So that connects through, and you'll be able to see that when you come in and you cut. So don't worry too much about using clips, guys. It's sometimes really nice. It allows you to control your work a little bit better. So one thing here you want to do is you want to have the same angle you did on the other side. So what this means is you want your fingers to be pointing in the same direction you did when you cut the first side, and you want it to connect to your original guideline at the top. So that means the hair you've cut at the top's your guide, and you want to have the same angle as you did on the first side. So if your first side was this angle, you don't want to be here and be out there. It'll have too much length. Or like this, it will be graduation. You just need to remember the angle you had your fingers in relation to the head. I hope that makes sense, guys. Let me know if not.
Evan's loving the explanation and the look.
Thank you so
Getting
much.
a lot of love here.
Beautiful.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much, guys. Also, don't forget to let us know where you're tuning in from. Please give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a share. If you really want to show us some love, share this video. It means the world to us. We really rely on your support and on people sharing it for the word to go further. So if you've learned something today, share it for us so others can learn too as well. And also what we've done is we've linked on the description our website, and our website has some free live videos for you to check out as well from other hair brains we've done through the years. From our first ever hair braid in New York with Jared and Kelly, which was amazing, so you guys can check that out, a cool little inside out bob. And then also to some very modern pink pixies and all sorts, so you've got a lot of free education there waiting for you whenever you need it. Now, the other thing is, also what we've got is we've got some courses coming up in London, which you can check out as well. So that's really fun. So our next course in London is on the 16th and 17th of May, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So you can go on our website, you can check out all the details of our next course, you can book them online. And we'd love to see you in London on the next cutting course there.
Are there any hair textures where you would say that a mullet shape wouldn't work? Someone's asked about finer hair.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you're quite lucky with mullets that a lot of textures can handle it. The only thing, if it's finer hair, I would probably make sure you've got some real length in the outlines, just to make it not too short, just so you can really kind of see the hair coming down. If you kind of go too flat, then you might be losing a bit of the hair that you need. So I would probably recommend that to say more than anything. I would say that, you know, it's not a problem necessarily to do it on finer hair, but maybe slightly longer lengths throughout the whole haircut, so throughout the top and the bottom, and then you can always cut into it to redefine the lengths to make it stronger. Cool.
I love the soft edges.
Thank you so much. So one last thing here, I'm just going to go through slightly. So do we have any other people tuning in from anywhere around the world?
Yeah, we've got some people tuning in from Ireland.
Oh, hey, hello Ireland.
Lovely.
Beautiful, not far from us. Not far from good old Blighty.
Ohio as well.
Ohio, nice.
Canada.
Beautiful.
Beautiful places as well.
Yeah. Anyone wants to invite us over, we'll be more than happy. We'd love to come for a holiday. Wouldn't you like to go for a holiday to Canada?
Absolutely.
It would be alright.
Nice,
It would be alright, why not? So looking really cool, guys. So let me just give a little brush down and then we'll give a little recap before we do the back. I feel like everything I do on you kind of looks a bit moddy as well. You've just got that slight mod feeling, which is cool. So stand up for me for a second. And we'll just give you a little shake, just to get all that loose hair. So just to give you guys a little bit of a recap what we've done. We started on the top, first section was in the middle, nice and square, and then we worked across from left to right, connecting it nice and square. So we actually haven't touched the outlines at all anywhere yet either. They're all been created through the layering technique. So once we did that, we used the lengths on the corners to then let those drop down and create the lengths on the sides, working from shorter on the top to longer at the bottom, so you've got that nice layered feeling, working our way all the way to the back, and if you just turn slightly for me, so the same all the way from here to the back. So we started with that first square section in the middle, a square section on the side, and now we have this lovely last square section in the back. I just want to come and have a seat for me. Beautiful. Cool. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting in the back. So I'm going to try and, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and be going for something that's a bit of a steeper angle than the others we've created. So the thing that you can do here easily is if you go too flat, you can end up with a very short haircut here and then long on the sides. Now, for a mullet feeling, it has to be longer here. So at the moment, I'm going to be maintaining a fair bit of length at the bottom. I'm obviously going to be cutting it, but I want to be conscious of not going shorter than the sides. And I can always cut more off afterwards. So safety is always a good thing. So here I'm starting again the same way. I'm going to take a little millimeter of a guideline from the top, comb it to the back, and that will be my guide. Remember guys, if you have a question about this haircut or any other haircut, feel free to let us know and we'll be happy to try and answer them. So taking a nice center section. Again, especially if you're new to this, you know, just don't be afraid to kind of use a clip here or there, just to keep it a little bit clean for yourself. The way I like to look at it, clean sections, clean mind. It just gives you the freedom to focus on what you're doing in that moment and not get caught up with the, have I cut that bit yet or not.
You're both getting a lot of love here.
Oh,
A lot of love.
you feel the love?
Yeah.
We feel the love. We feel
So
the love.
much.
That's it. It's all about love, man. It's all about love. I mean, that's one thing I love about hair education is it's all about sharing love, sharing knowledge, sharing passion. And I think hairdressers are definitely some of the most passionate people I know. We all love what we do. I think it's a really hard job. It's time consuming, it's long hours, it's rubbish pay sometimes. And I think you really have to have a lot of love for it to keep doing it. So I feel like we're very blessed to work with such passionate people because I don't think you could do this job unless you truly loved it. Cool.
Now I've noticed, Michael, when you cut, you bring your fingers all the way to the end of the section, and I know some hairdressers leave quite a gap.
Yeah.
They don't go all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why you do that?
Probably habit, to be honest. I probably teach to not go so close to the end of your fingers, but I probably do it myself.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it's nice to have a certain amount of a gap so you can see what you're doing. But you need to have control as well. So, you know, I think there's always a fine line between, you know, getting your fingers in there and then also not actually having control of what you're doing. You know, fingers can sometimes hide what you're doing, so you don't want to be up there, you know, but you do want to be close enough that you can kind of see what you're doing. So, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like the most important thing is you're getting to the right place. You know, because you can always cross-check and cross-check and cross-check and make sure it's perfect. But for me, I really am into the big picture. I'm really into what are you trying to create and why, and what is it doing to the face and why, and all these things. Because sometimes I find hairdressers get a bit too caught up in, am I doing this little millimeter really good? And at the end of it, the whole haircut kind of looks shit and it's too short. So trying to stand back a bit, I think is the most important thing, and just analyze the whole thing rather than just the millimeter there. Because at the end of the day, that millimeter can be redefined, but the shape and the idea and the concept and the lengths are kind of more important than anything, in my opinion.
Oh, that's lovely. Kiara's written, yeah, the cut really suits her and is so cute. Ireland has gone cold today.
Oh no,
Kiara,
oh no. Don't send it our way, okay? Don't blow it our way, please. Keep it for a little bit. We'll get the cold soon enough.
We had a week of sun, guys, and that's it.
Yeah, it basically just teased us. It was a little tease. We were like, summer's here, baby. But it was not to be lived. To be fair, I can't complain. I've just come back from South Africa where it was literally summer. So I'm probably due for a little cold spell. What is the time where you guys are tuning in from? I'm sure anyone from Australia watching, it will be basically way past their bedtime.
We have got some Aussies.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's commitment, guys. Appreciate that. That's when you know people love what you do, when they're way past their bedtime and they're up watching a Facebook Live with you. Beautiful. So we're just continuing that softness of just taking the top as a guide and continuing all the way down to the bottom lengths. And I'm working this till there's no hair left. So the sides, in theory, should be a little bit shorter than the back. So there should be very little to come off once you start getting to the last sections. And what you want to see here is you essentially just want to see that there's no long bits sticking out. And that's all I'm looking for, is these long bits sticking out at the moment. So I'm just going to redefine my section. So I'm pulling it to the back. I'm finding where my original guide is. I can see my guideline from the other side. And we're just reconnecting it in.
And just as a recap, is that back to previous, or is that...
So this is back to the previous, so it's not to the first, it's back to the previous. So each section is coming across to the last one, and it gives you this kind of, I don't know if you can see it, but it has that square feeling to it. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it has that strength to it. And that's what I love as well, is anything you do that's even slightly square just has a very strong overall finish to it, whether you like it or not. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the other side. So what I'll do is I'll try to smooth over a little bit like that, and we're going to put a bit of water on it. So I like to keep things evenly damp as much as possible. So I just give the hair a little bit of a soaking. That's really coming out nice. And a little bit on the other side. Beautiful. Cool. So we're just going to work through the second side from top to bottom. So this is the last bit of the last sections. Then we're going to dry it off, and we're going to do a little bit of personalizing at the end if it needs, but I have a feeling we will. So just a little bit possibly in the fringe area, and maybe a little bit around the face, and then we'll be good. So just hold yourself back a little. So I'm using, just hold it back, just using the previous cut as a guide, working my way up. So I'm looking for that original section from the other side. And just holding my fingers upwards. And so all the way to the top. Cool. So once you've got the original guide in the middle, it's very easy to use that as a guide working your way through. Sometimes you just have to cut the same section again once or twice just to give a nice bit of clarity to it. Notice that I haven't done any pointing here. Now I could have very easily done this whole thing pointed, but I think for two reasons I didn't. One is the fact that it's already very layered, so it's going to have an element of softness to it anyway, so it's not really the end of the world. The other reason I feel it's much better when I'm teaching to show a clean cutting line, because you can always do this pointed, but I think it's easier for you to see the sectioning when it's done clean. And then for you guys, you can decide if you want to point in or not on your own, because at the end of the day, you do the exact same thing pointed and you get the same result, just a bit softer. So the choice is yours. Okay, cool. Second to last section. Perfect.
They're loving the sectioning.
Yeah, the sectioning is everything with this.
Clean.
The sectioning is everything with this, to be honest. I think if you do the good sectioning, then the rest of the haircut kind of follows through. So the sectioning is basically the drawing of the haircut before you commit. I always say to my students, it's like the drawing of the tattoo before you do it on yourself. Just the last one, if you keep your head down for me. Thank you. So yeah, you really, what you do is by doing the sectioning, you kind of see the haircut taking form and taking shape and coming to life. So that was it. That was the last one. Nice and square everywhere. So we can see the mullet coming in nicely here. We've got the length in the back. We've got the squareness on top. We'll do a little recap for you now before we start to dry. So what we've done is we've just done it nice and square on top. The sides we've connected from the top to the bottom in a layered angle, so shorter on the top, longer on the bottom, all the way from the front to the back. Same on the other side, and then connected the back in the same way, from shorter in the top to longer in the bottom. Slightly higher angle, so slightly longer in the back, so we get this nice mullet feel. So if you want to just spin around for me. So I'm just going to add a little bit of product. So this is a styling mousse. It's just going to give a little bit of hold, a little bit of grip, a little bit of definition. We want those curls and those waves to come to life. I feel like it's just looking really cool anyway, so we don't want to change it too much. So what you can see is where I'm doing this is I'm really placing the foam where I want to see it. So I'm just getting a bit in my hand and I'm rubbing it in, but I'm also moving the hair around. So I'm trying to almost style the hair with the mousse where I'm placing it. And that's just going to help create the vibe I'm going for.
Working even visually then when applying the product, not being so strict with that.
I mean, the thing is also is basically that, you know, at the end of the day, it all should all be visual as well. Even when we're cutting, I feel like cutting hair for me is a visual game as opposed to colouring. But, you know, because at the end of the day, what you see is what you get. So if you're looking at things, so I almost always talk to people about head shape like colorists. So I say, rather than looking at the undertone of the hair, like when we're talking about color, I say look at the undertone of the head shape. And what we're doing is we're trying to see the head shape and then decide, which bit do we want to be condensed and which bit do we want to come out. And that's the kind of way we look at head shape, is the same way colorists look at undertones, deciding what's going to be best for them. Cool, so now we're going to use our dryer. I'm using a sock dryer, so a soft diffuser from Wise Park, best thing in the world. They really, really work well. And we're just using it to softly dry the hair into place.
And why do you prefer using the soft dryer over a diffuser?
So this doesn't give you the same kind of flyaways. So it stops all the flyaways. It really allows you to mold the hair more with your hands. And this just provides heat, as opposed to diffusers will rarely dry with the air that's provided in. Looking cool.
To make sense of the mousse as well, because there'll be areas that you already really like that you don't want to alter.
Exactly.
Someone's asked about channel cutting.
Yeah.
And what will your views are on that?
So I think it's really hard when we talk about channel cutting, because I know channel cutting is two different things. The one is when you go disconnection shorter, longer, I know that, and I know some people call channel cutting when you slice into the hair. So depending on which one you mean, I like both of them. I think everything has a purpose and a reason. If I wanted to see more choppiness in a very precise way, I can do channel cutting as in disconnection. If I just want to break up edges, then I can use a slicing technique. So it depends what you're going for at the end of the day. There's no right or wrong, it's just what do you like? You know, I think razors are great, I think thinning scissors are great, I think all the tools are great. You just get, it's like saying, do you like oil paintings or, you know, or acrylic? Well, I like everything. It just depends what you're going for. Cool. So we're almost there.
Someone's asked, would this haircut look okay if the client wants to wear their hair straight?
Yeah, this haircut looks good, straight, curly, all different textures it looks good on. Yeah. You know, it really works well on all textures, this one.
Someone's asked where you're from.
It's a good question. Yeah. I'm a mix.
Yeah.
I'm like a good sandwich. I'm a mix. I'm Australian Cypriot.
Yeah.
Where are they from?
Kiara, I think Kiara's from Ireland. Let me check. Yeah, Ireland.
Cheeky Irish.
Yeah.
Good. We love a bit of cheeky Irish. I don't know if you guys can even hear me with this on. So what I'm doing is I'm also going from a medium heat, a high heat, to also a cold. Sometimes you can put on the heat as much as you like, but it won't dry. Sometimes you just need the cold air to really get it to dry a little bit at that last moment.
Great model, people are saying as well.
Yeah.
That silhouette is gorgeous, so beautiful. got an inquiry about the courses you do, whether you do one-on-one or...
Sorry?
Got some inquiries on the course you provide, whether one-on-one is something you do or not.
Yeah, we do a lot of one-to-ones. So we have a lot of clients that have specific needs and they just don't want to basically come into a big course with a lot of people. So we design courses based on their needs as well. Again, if you go on our website, we have a whole list about our private courses, our one-to-ones. But you know, you can contact us through Facebook, drop us a DM, or on Instagram, you can drop us a DM. We've got our emails out there, and obviously we can discuss whatever people want to learn and write a program for them. We do that a lot for different salons as well. We write their own educational programs for them and design them and implement them for them. So we have a lot of them. We also offer online education. So we do bespoke Zoom seminars and look and learns for clients, for their salons or individuals. Cool, so just sit a bit straight for me. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going through this a little bit with the razor, also if I want to with my soft scissors that are for slicing or pointing, and I'm just visually looking now and I'm just deciding the kind of lengths we want to remove. It can also be a bit of weight if I want to come in internally, but we can also get rid of the actual lengths that we want to see off as well. So depending, because I don't want to take too much, because we agreed I'm not going to take too much off the fringe, so we're just kind of going through it gently and just visually kind of seeing where the hair falls and where I want to remove it as well, just to give a bit of definition and a bit of separation. That's cool. So yeah, guys, don't forget, if you have enjoyed this, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, give it a little share. We really appreciate it as well. Cool, I think it's looking really nice. Cool, and then I'm going to go through it a bit with my scissors now as well. Just to get rid of some of those little bugger hairs. So we should really dry it a little bit more. Beautiful.
What a lovely thing to say. John has written, we are so fortunate to have such great artists and models for us to become great hair designers.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much. You know, it's things like this that make you want to keep doing it. It's been a very hard 2 years for everyone. You know, we've lost a lot of education. We've tried really hard to keep going for everyone. So we really appreciate those comments. They mean the world to us. So thank you, guys. I'm just putting in a little bit of dry powder. More than anything, just to dry off some of the hair a bit. I should put the diffuser on it a little bit more, just for a last touch. How's your eyes? You okay? blasphemy. He's using a tint brush to wipe down the face, but it's the best thing for the little hairs, guys. So beautiful, amazing, looking good. So if you want to stand up for me, we'll do a final recap. Let's also get this out so we can see you in your full glory. Alright, beautiful. Thank you so much everyone for tuning in, it's been amazing. We're going to give you a final recap. We did something very simple. We created 4 boxes. So we had on the top a little square, we had on the side another little square, we had in the back a lovely little square, and so we had 4 zones. We started on the top by cutting it square from the top and from the sides. We then had our little box and we took the top as a guide. So we took the top hair and we brought it down as a guide and we connected it. So it goes shorter in the front and it gets longer towards the bottom. So it's shorter at the top of the head and then it gets longer towards the bottom. Because of the hairline being that big on the sides and that big in the back, as we came across, we naturally created a mullet where it got longer in the back as well. This is really cool. We did that on one side, we did it on the second side. From the back section, again, we took the top as a guide and we just took it a little bit steeper than we thought, just to create more length, just so we maintained the mullet. And then we just cut the fringe a little bit. Looks good. Thank you so much guys for tuning in. I'm going to get Roman to come a little close and do a last little video with you guys. But thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next month for another Hairbrain Live. I think next time on Instagram. But please like and share and we'll see you soon guys. Thanks so much. Good night.
Okay, let's have a final look. Beautiful.